Batman, Hooked on a Feeling, Gotham City, New Jersey, May of 2024. It was a normal spring day as Commissioner Gordon and several of his police were ready to raid a very old house in an area of Gotham City called The Hill. After months of investigation into a gun running operation in the city, we're now ready to make the final arrest on the ringleader of this gun running operation. The SWAT team busts down the door with a battering ram, and all of them go running in. As they all ran inside, the commissioner was running up the steps of the house. Suddenly, there was a massive explosion. The explosion sends the commissioner flying back, and he hits the police van hard, and he flops to the ground, looking like a rag doll. The other police officers run up to see if the commissioner was okay, while the others ran to the blown-up house that was now on fire. Unfortunately, all the SWAT team members were killed, and as for the commissioner, he was rushed to the hospital. Now he was in a coma and critical condition. Later that night, as the bat signal shines in the sky, the Batman lands. And it was not the commissioner, it was Detective Harvey Bullock. And he says to Batman, "Alright, freak, let's get this over with. I don't like you, you don't like me. But we do have one thing in common. We care a lot about the commish. And right now, the commish is in the hospital fighting for his life." And then Batman says to Harvey,
"I know, I saw it on the news."
And Harvey says, "The investigation that we did indicated that it was a booby trap set up to intimidate us to not investigate any further." And then Harvey says to Batman, "Listen, freak, I'm going to need your help to bust this Ricky El Gancho fella." And the Batman says to Harvey,
"I think that's the first time I ever heard you in 25 years say the words, 'You need my help.'"
"Don't remind me, freak. I'm only doing this for the commish." And Batman says to Harvey,
"I already have some leads on El Gancho I'm gonna investigate tonight."
Meanwhile, back at the Batcave, Batman was using a Bat computer, looking at the map and looking at a few addresses, while Alfred comes up to Batman and asks, "Master Bruce, how's the commissioner doing?" And Batman says to Alfred,
"The commissioner's out of danger. He's going to pull through. I know Jim. Jim's a fighter. It's going to take a lot more than that to bring him down."
Then Alfred asks Batman, "So who's this Ricky El Gancho character that everyone is talking about?" And then Batman explains to Alfred,
Ricky El Gancho Garcia was born in Caracas, Venezuela in 1973. He's always been trouble since he was a child. During his teenage years, he worked with some drug runners, and it was through there that he met Oswald Cobblepot, and the two of them formed a close friendship. During his drug running days, he supplied Penguin with all the drugs from Latin America, and Penguin supplied him with all the guns so he could sell it to a lot of the guerrilla forces that were operating in different Latin American countries at the time. Eventually, Ricky went up the ranks and became the number 2 man in Penguin's organization. And after Penguin died 2 years ago, his criminal empire splintered, with Ricky taking full control of the gun running operation.
And Alfred asks Batman, how did he get the nickname El Gancho? And then Batman explains to Alfred,
He lost his right hand due to a mishap with a grenade, and so they fitted his right hand with a hook, and then they called him El Gancho ever since. That's Spanish for the hook.
Later on that night, at a building somewhere in Gotham City, in a room, several men were gathered having a meeting. They were sitting around a giant table, and on the giant table was spread out a map of Gotham City with several addresses marked in red. And the man conducting the meeting was named Nathan Nordham. He was the number 2 guy in El Gancho's organization. He was a man in his mid-30s, tall, brown thinning hair, thin build. And he was explaining to the men in the room, "All right, gentlemen, tonight the shipment of arms is coming in through Dixon Docks. Each of you will receive a cache of weapons, and you will distribute it in your territory, while the rest are just gonna go to our usual place and then be distributed across the country like usual. But as that was going on, unbeknownst to them, on a rooftop across the way, Batman was crouched down. He was holding a rifle-like device. It was a laser microphone, and he was listening in on the whole meeting. And on the laser microphone was a scope. This scope was a very powerful digital camera, and he was taking pictures of all the men inside the room at the meeting. Back inside the room, Nathan pulls out a cigar, clips the tip, and he lights up. As he takes a puff of his cigar, he blows out the smoke, and as he blew out the smoke illuminated the laser of the laser microphone, and all the men in the room quickly freak out, one of them saying, "Oh no, it's a sniper laser scope." All the men in the room quickly drop down to the ground for cover. Soon the window shatters and several canisters of tear gas comes flying into the room and goes off. Then Batman leaps in through the broken window and starts taking on all the guys in the room. During a scuffle, Nathan finds a door and exits the room. As he was running down the hall, he was still coughing and gagging, and his eyes were red and watering like crazy. After the tear gas cleared the room, Batman uses detective mode to photograph the map on the table. He uploaded the image to both Oracle's computers and the Bat computer, and he says to Oracle,
Oracle, I'm uploading to you an image of a map with several addresses marked in red. Find the addresses and send this data to the police.
Oracle acknowledges and asks Batman, "So did you find Nathan Nordham?" And Batman says yes to Oracle, and he tells her that he can't talk, that he's gonna go after him. Soon, Nathan was in his mid-engine Corvette, getting away at high speed. As he turns onto one street, suddenly there was a massive accident up ahead, and several lanes of traffic were blocked, and Nathan screams, "Oh, freaking great, this is just what I need!" Then, suddenly, Nathan sees on the rearview mirror the Batmobile coming up high speed on him. Suddenly, the Batmobile rams into the backside of his Corvette. Of course, Nathan didn't have a seatbelt on, so now he was in pain, and he struggles to open the door, and when he finally opened the door, he falls out of the car, and Batman walks right up to him, grabs him, and with the grapple gun, grapples away with him. After a brief round of interrogation, Nathan finally spills the beans on where Ricky was at, saying, "Ricky is at a hotel called the Lady Dewberry. It's a luxury hotel. He rented the top penthouse, and he's planning on Wednesday night to have a big party at Amusement Tower." And then Batman takes Nathan back to the scene of his wrecked Corvette and leaves him on the pavement there, writhing in pain. The police quickly come and take Nathan to the hospital, while Batman was heading to Dixon Docks to stop the shipment of illegal weapons coming into Gotham City. Meanwhile, at Dixon Docks, all the weapons were loaded into trucks and vans and ready to head to their destination. As they are all taken off, suddenly an Apache attack helicopter comes flying in and starts shooting all those trucks and vans with missiles. Direct hit on all the vehicles, and all the weapons catches were now gone. Of course, the Apache helicopter was none other than the Batcopter, and it flies off into the night. The next day, the police raid all the locations that were marked on the map. In his penthouse, Ricky El Gancho was laying in bed, in a state between being awake and being asleep. Then his cell phone goes off. Ricky grabs his cell phone and answers it, and a voice on the other end says, "Hey, Mr. Gonzalez, bad news. All your distributors have been arrested. Nathan has been arrested. All the weapon caches have been destroyed, and all the distribution centers have been raided." And Ricky says, "Oh no, I betcha it's that annoying Batman." And then the voice on the phone says, "Yeah, he was the one that beat up Nathan and beat up all the distributors, and he took a picture of the map that Nathan had that had all the distribution centers marked on the map, and the police raided it." And the voice over the phone says, "And I believe he was the one that destroyed all the transport vehicles that had our weapon caches because it looks like they were hit by missiles." And Ricky says, "Well, it looks like Batman will be coming after me soon. I want security around me doubled for tomorrow night's party." And the voice on the phone says, "Yes, Mr. Gonzalez." And then Ricky hangs up the phone. Later that night at Gotham General Hospital, the commissioner was laying in his bed in the ICU. He was awake, looking at his phone, when he sensed there was somebody in his room. He turned to look and saw it was Batman, and he says to Batman, "Well, old buddy, I knew you were going to visit me sometime." And Batman says to Gordon,
I'm glad you're doing better, Jim.
and the commissioner says, "I'm glad I'm doing better myself. They're going to move me to the step-down unit tomorrow. They're hoping to get me out of the hospital in 3 days." And then the commissioner says to Batman, "I was told what you did. I'm glad you hurt Ricky good. Now he has really nothing here in Gotham City." And then Batman says to the commissioner,
Tomorrow he's having a big party at Amusement Tower, and that's where I'll make my move.
and the commissioner says to Batman, "I wish I could be there tomorrow to make the arrest, but I know you can handle it," he says to Batman. And then Batman says to the commissioner,
I have to go, Jim. I have to get ready for tomorrow night.
The next night at Amusement Tower, at the base of the tower, there was a luxurious casino, and Ricky was having his party there. He had all the people he invited, plus the extra security around. But unbeknownst to Ricky, he was being watched through the surveillance system by none other than Oracle. Oracle was looking at all who was at the party and taking photos, and she was saying to Batman, "Batman, come in." It seems that Ricky has a nice extensive guest list of other criminals there and beefed up security. Batman reminded Oracle that it was no challenge to him. Meanwhile, Ricky was at the roulette table with 2 women and a couple of his invited guests and 2 bodyguards. And then the other guests were at the blackjack table, with one of them saying to the dealer, "Hit me." And then suddenly, a gloved hand chops the back of the neck of the man who said "hit me," and he was laying out cold. The other men at the table turn around and look, and they saw it was Batman. Soon everyone freaked out, and Ricky ordered his bodyguards to attack, and soon a huge brawl ensued at the casino, with Batman taking on Ricky's bodyguards, and everybody in the casino fighting one another. In the chaos, Ricky slips out of the casino and he heads to the elevator. He takes the elevator up to the tower. Amusement Tower was Gotham City's answer to the Eiffel Tower. It was taller than the Eiffel Tower at 1,300 feet and taller than Wonder Tower, which stands at 1,000 feet. Ricky kept climbing up the tower until he got to the very top. He was running from Batman, and he didn't know how he was going to get down. As he was on the railings, hoping that Batman didn't pursue him, he heard a flapping of cloth in the air. Figuring it was Batman, Ricky quickly pulls out a double-barreled, sawed-off automatic shotgun that was loaded with slugs. He points the gun quickly to where he heard the flapping coming from, and sure enough, it was Batman, and he pulls the trigger. Direct hit at Batman's chest, and Batman falls off the railing above Ricky, and it seemed like he felt his death. But it was dark, and Ricky didn't know if he fell all the way, and he didn't hear any screaming. And he says aloud, with glee in his voice, "Ha ha! I gotcha, Batman. I gotcha good. I've accomplished something that Penguin failed to do, and that was killing you." Ricky begins to make his way back to the main platform when all of a sudden the grapple gun was fired and the grappling hook went right through Ricky's right side of his chest, just below the collarbone, and emerged on the other side. Suddenly, Batman jerks on the line and Ricky falls off the railing. But Ricky was now just dangling like a worm on the hook, screaming, "Help me, help me." And he looks up and he sees Batman was still alive. And he says aloud, "How? I just shot you with 2 slugs." And Batman just stared at Ricky in silence. And then he leaps off the railing and glides away. Well, Ricky was arrested by the police, and so were his party guests. While Bruce Wayne was recovering from that shot, despite the chemical formula that strengthens the spandex of his bat suit and the special chest piece behind the bat symbol and his bulletproof vest that he wears underneath the bat suit, it left a very nasty bruise on his chest. Plus, Bruce Wayne was having bad chest pains from the impact. That means Batman was not going to be seen on the streets for a few weeks. As for Ricky El Gancho, he was arrested, and his gun running operations were now finished. Like and subscribe, the end.